Welcome. Thank you for being here with us. We are talking about Running Start and specifically Running Start at Big Picture. Again, we're recording the session. With us today, so I'm Melinda Breeze. I'm the high school counselor at Big Picture. And then there's Anastasia Whitaker, who is our new student liaison at Bellevue College. And then Dexter Harrington is a Running Start program specialist, and he'll be working with us on monitoring the chat and helping us answer questions. And Anastasia and I will answer questions as well. The goal is to have time at the end for questions and answers. Students definitely should be able to type in the chat. I'm not sure if people who joined from a different account other than students' Teams accounts are able to. Whatever you do put in the chat, let's please focus on questions for the presentation. And if there's specific or individual questions, you can always follow up with myself or with the new student Running Start contact information later. Okay, so Running Start is an opportunity in Washington State for juniors and seniors to earn college credit while also earning high school credit. And the way that this happens is students take their classes at a local community 2-year technical college, earn college credit in those classes, and then also earn high school credit at the same time. There's some things to note about when a student goes to Bellevue College or Big Picture. When we're combining things, there are 3 terms in the college system. So there's fall, winter, and spring. And then there's 2 terms at Big Picture, first semester or fall semester, and spring semester or second semester. Per term, students at Bellevue College will take about 2 classes. And at a full-time Big Picture schedule, they're taking 7 classes per semester. And remember, we're combining these classes because all of our students are at minimum taking internship. So they'll be taking internship at Big Picture. And then if they choose to do Running Start, 1 or 2 of their classes at Bellevue College as well. And we'll get more into that later. So the number of credits students can take through Running Start, Big Picture students, is 13 per quarter. So what that means is 13 per quarter means 13 times 3 because there are 3 quarters, and so students can earn a total of 39 college credits, which equals 7.4 high school credits. At Big Picture, for classes at Big Picture, students can earn 3.5 high school credits in 1 semester, full-time students at Big Picture, and 7 credits, 7 high school credits for a full year at Big Picture. Semesters at Big Picture are about 18 weeks long. Quarters at Bellevue College are about 9 weeks long. So it's really important to note that the content is being covered much more quickly. And then school breaks don't match up. Winter break at Bellevue College is so much nicely longer. I know that when I started being a school counselor after being in college, I was sad that my winter break was not as long. There's no midwinter break in Bellevue College. There's one at Big Picture, the Bellevue School District, and then spring in Bellevue College, spring break is in March, and then in Big Picture, Bellevue School District, it's in April. So it's important to remember those things. There's a really good chance that there's not going to be a whole lot of time where a student isn't attending class at all. So some things to note is that the number of students at Big Picture, or the number of classes at Big Picture, impacts the number of college credits they can take. So all students will take at least 1 credit at Big Picture, or 1 class, excuse me, because all students will take the internship class, the advisory class. So the maximum amount of credits that students can take at the college then is 13, and then so on and so forth. So a student who takes 2 classes at Big Picture can take 11 classes or 11 credits at Bellevue College, and that's 11 credits, 13 credits, etc. per quarter. So here's an example. So if I'm a student and I'm taking 4 classes at Big Picture, then I can take 1 class at Bellevue College per quarter. So that means my schedule Big Picture might look like internship class, or LTI, English, math, and Spanish. And then at Bellevue College, I might take History 147, fall quarter, which is US history, Physics 100 winter quarter, which counts as a science credit. So it's both physics at college and then physics science credit in the high school. And then music 100 spring quarter. Okay, Anastasia.
Sounds great. Thank you, Melanie. Melinda, thank you. I'm just so excited to be a Big Picture. Thank you so much for having us here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the Running Start, or RSEVF, Running Start Enrollment Verification Form is. It's like a permission slip, and it's that check between the high school and the college to make sure that that student is enrolled and registered full-time between both institutions. And it shows the college, how many credits that you're taking, as well as the high school. And with this form, you can see a little picture underneath. On the form, you can indicate if you're going through any financial assistance. This will assist with class fees. And this kind of just helps us know what classes also count for the high school graduation requirements. So like Melinda was saying, that if you're going to take history that first quarter, how it's going to work for you at your high school graduation. Obviously, it's going to be a requirement, and where it's going to fit in there. So it just kind of makes sure everybody's on the same track. And this is actually required every quarter, and this needs to be filled out with your high school counselor. And this, kind of just make sure it's turned into our office, which leads us into the next slide. So students that are submitting this form, they need to submit it to our office via website currently. Here on our website at the Running Start admissions webpage, you can find this button, and that's actually potentially where you want to submit your form. It's going to take you into a format. It's going to ask you some, questions, your name, and sorts like that. It's going to allow you to upload the form and in a PDF format, and then it's going to send and submit it to us. And then we'll process your form. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit about the cost between, Bellevue School District pays for the tuition. There's 13 college credits for Big Picture students, and they can take that, each quarter. And that's approved like the Running Start EVF state form that we just discussed. And that's how it's approved on there. The tuition is paid by the Bellevue School District, and then students are ultimately responsible for textbooks for the class, other class materials. So if you were taking an art class, you might need to buy an art kit, or a science class like physics, you might need to buy a science kit. And then there's class fees, student fees. And then, once we get back to campus, there's going to be parking as well that the student is going to be responsible for. And that's, and then anything over 13 credits that the student wants to take, in the quarter, let's say it adds up to 14, because you're taking a class with a lab, then you can pay for that out of pocket. So next slide, please. So let's talk a bit about placement requirements. There's an English placement level that you either have to decide how you're going to get your English placement done. All English placement is required for students, Running Start students, all students that are attending BC. And you can either submit your transcript, or you can, if you don't meet those requirements by visiting the testing and placement website, you can then decide to take the placement AccuPlacer. So on the website, the placement website, there is an actual placement button, and you can submit your requests in that manner. And after you apply, if you decide that Running Start is the way that you want to go with BC, you can to meet all those program deadlines, it's going to be June 7th, preferably by May 1st. And this kind of gives you a little bit of time before summer. And the high schools take that summer break. So you want to make sure that you're getting this form, you're meeting with your high school counselor, you're actually applying, you're completing our steps, which we'll visit here in a moment later on, and you're completing these processes in a timely manner so that you can be set up for success and register for those classes that you actually potentially want to take. Next slide, please. So with English placement, their students can use the following: their high school transcript. If they meet an overall GPA of a 3.0 or higher, they can choose to submit that using the placement button that you can see below. If they have a Smarter Balanced Language Art score of a 3 or 4, appropriate AP exams, you have to have the AP scorecard, and or placement from another Washington State community or technical college. So if of course, if you attended another college before this, perhaps you took a class, underage admission, I don't know. You can request those, but they have to be less than 2 years old, obviously. And then taking the AccuPlacer exam is ultimately an option as well. And that's all done by requesting the English and Math placement button there from the website, Placement and Testing website. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk about math placement. Math placement is needed for any kind of math that you want to take at BC, or perhaps science. Some of the science classes will require a certain math level. Students can use the following if they are, get a high school math course appropriate. They can submit their transcripts using the English and Math placement button, as well as using the ALEX. And that's all requested through requesting English and Math placement there at their website. So please, if you choose BC, you're going to want to open up all the cabinets at the website and see where everything's located. I like to call it a new home that you're settling into, and really, nest. Make yourself at home and find out where everything is so you can be comfortable. Next slide, please.
So the next question we all have to ask ourselves is Running Start right for me as a student, hypothetically, or for your student? So the questions that go along with that is, are you excited about academic challenges? These are college courses. And so students are acting as college students in college level courses. It's important to be more mature than most high school students, comfortable with diversity, being assertive and a self-advocate. People aren't in the college setting. Teachers aren't saying, did you turn in that assignment? People aren't saying, how can I help you with this grade? It's something the student has to make sure that they're advocating and asking questions about themselves. It's really important that a student is ready to do well academically and has done well academically, independent and motivated. And again, that's along those lines of students have to be the ones to drive this. They're considered college students. We don't know how their assignments are going if they're turning them in. We don't know how they're doing on tests. And so students need to be able to do that themselves, to act in that mature and independent manner. And then really consistent with attendance and getting work done. Again, nobody's monitoring that with students, so they need to be able to monitor it for themselves. And then able to commit for the program for a full year. Students who choose to do Running Start have to do Running Start through the entire school year. There's not an option to change their mind at, after fall quarter or after winter quarter. There's lots of benefits of Running Start: free college tuition. So again, students are earning college credit at the same time that they're earning high school credit, and BSD, or rather Washington State, is paying the tuition. So that's phenomenal. Students can exit high school with a lot of credits already taken care of for college that they didn't have to pay for, and therefore really possibly not have to take as many classes in four-year college, and therefore not have to pay for as many classes. And I want to say, for undocumented students, this can be a really good option if it also fits for the individual student, because there doesn't have to be such a worry about financial aid and such. Advanced coursework and academic challenge, that's awesome. A lot of students really like all the variety. the world languages, the sciences. As you all know, at Big Picture, students study Spanish, and they can do Japanese, Chinese, other classes. A really flexible schedule, again, that independence. A lot of times it's, if I'm ready for Running Start and I want to kind of try out college life before I go to four-year college, that can be a really good experience too. And then just a new social environment. Sometimes students really want to be out of the high school social environment and into a more adult one. Some challenges that exist: scheduling challenges. Students have to schedule their Running Start classes around their Bellevue or their Big Picture classes. The Big Picture classes are the most important part in all of this. So for example, students have to take that internship class, and they have to take a full day of internship with no interruptions. And I'll repeat that later too. So their Bellevue College classes cannot be at the same time as their at least internship class or other classes at Big Picture, or on basically on Thursdays unless they're in the evening. Students are pretty much the ones who are responsible for making sure they're meeting their graduation requirements. Yes, I meet with students every quarter. Yes, we're going over their graduation requirements, and I'm saying these are the classes you need to take, and we're checking that every quarter. And ultimately, it's the Running Start student who has to make sure that they are meeting those requirements and double checking that. There can be some transfer credit issues. We know in Washington State colleges do take many Running Start credits, and and they transfer to credit for the four-year college. They may not transfer for credit to private schools, and other colleges in other states may not consider them or let them transfer to that four-year college transcript also. And then books, fees, and transportation. There is a cost, right? Even though the tuition is paid for, the other costs are not, and it can be a significant amount of money. It's also really fast paced. Like we talked about, it's about half the length of time of a semester. And so it's a lot of content really quickly. There's a new social environment. There are adults at Running Start. There are adults at Bellevue College, and there are many other students who are also doing Running Start. So there's a huge range of ages of people who are going to classes and attending class with students. It's really important to know that the grades that students get at Bellevue College both go on their college transcript and their high school transcript. So if I go to Running Start and it turns out I'm not ready to do college level courses, and I don't score as well, I don't have as higher grades on my classes in Running Start, that stays on my college transcript. After I graduate from high school, I go to four-year college, those classes are still on my transcript. That can also have financial aid ramifications, because in order to be eligible for financial aid, students have to earn a minimum of a 2.0. And then the conflicting vacation dates that we talked about. Whew, taking a breath. Okay, so there's Bellevue School District Running Start policies, and then there's specifically Big Picture Running Start policies. So right now, 10th and 11th graders are registering for next year's classes. 10th and 11th grader students who want to take Running Start next year have to put that in their registration request. And the way to do that is to put the classes that they plan to take at Big Picture and then Running Start as a class for the other classes. By the way, I am meeting with every 11th and 10th grader in their classes to go over their registration. 11th graders, there have been a lot of meetings scheduled that have not been made, so please come when I reschedule that. And 10th graders, I'll be meeting with you in your world history classes. If you say that you're doing Running Start on your registration, you have to do Running Start, unless there's room in the classes you want to take a Big Picture. So for example, let's say I tell on my registration I'm going to do Running Start, and my plan is to do US History at Running Start. So I don't put US History on my course request for Big Picture next year. And then I change my mind. There needs to be room in the US History class in order for students to be able to take it. If for some reason that class is full and I as a student said I was planning on doing Running Start, I won't be able to join that class, and we'll have to figure something out. If you don't say on your registration form that you plan to do Running Start, then you will not be able to choose to do Running Start at a later date. You have to choose now whether or not you want to do Running Start and tell us now. That's true to some extent at all schools because schools build their schedules off of the classes that students request. Especially true at Big Picture because we have so few students that just a few students changing their mind can have a huge impact on the schedule. Students are responsible for setting up a meeting with me at least 2 days prior to having that form filled out. And then to schedule the meeting, they can email me or Michelle, our counseling secretary. Again, students have to attend the 3rd period LTI advisory class, internship class. They must attend their 7-hour not interrupted internship on Thursday. So what that means is a student can't go to internship, leave to go to a Bellevue College class, and then come back. Students are responsible for coordinating their Bellevue College classes with their Big Picture classes. It is not an option to arrive late to a Big Picture class or leave early from a Big Picture class in order to make a Bellevue College class. And then students have to turn in a signed Running Start contract, and that's in a packet. I put the packet in the chat. I will also be communicating that to sophomores and juniors in multiple other ways. So look out for that. But right this moment, it is in the chat. So other things to consider, our master schedule is determined, prior to beginning of next school year. And so you likely won't know what classes you will register for at Bellevue College until after that schedule is set. So if I really want to take a specific Bellevue College class, but it's at the same time as my, senior English class, that Bellevue College class will not be able to be taken. The Big Picture class takes precedent. And then because of the small amount of classes offered at Big Picture, so it's not like there are 4 different 12th grade English classes. There's pretty much one 12th grade English class. There's a chance that I might have a Bellevue College class at like 8 o'clock and another at 9 o'clock and then not have class again. Well, that's a bad example because we all have 3rd period. I might have my 3rd period internship class and then not have a Bellevue College class until like 1 or 2. And so there might be time for students where they're not in a class. And so families, it's really important for you all to know that your student might have quote unquote free time or time away from classes in the early afternoon, late morning, and there's nobody monitoring them during that time. Okay, Anastasia.
Thank you. Yes. So Bellevue College Running Start academic policy. Bellevue College requires all students to maintain a 2.0 GPA. That's a C average. This, plays a lot of things. If your GPA for 1 quarter is below that 2.0, you'll be placed on academic probation. So, and it can also hurt other things. So Melinda was saying, with financial assistance later on, it plays with that as well, having that 2.0 GPA requirement. Running Start students who fall below the 2.0 GPA for any 2 quarters will then become ineligible to participate in the program. And this is to protect the student from harming their transcript. This means you have to come back to school full time at Big Picture immediately. And that has to do with, staying full time as a student between both institutions. So if you're, not attending Bellevue College for the time indicated on the Running Start enrollment verification form, the agreement, the check between both institutions, then you're going to have to make sure that you're full-time at the high school. And that's what that means, full-time at Big Picture immediately. So we don't want to become truant, if it, what it's called. And this can hinder your ability to graduate on time. So it's a high risk, high reward program. And you really want to go over this with your family, make sure it's the right decision for you as a person and your future. So it's a great opportunity. Next slide, please. Brings us into, your next steps. And you definitely want to indicate your plan for taking Running Start on your registration form. Like Melinda was saying about the packet that you're going to get, your registration for, you have to indicate this in spring to participate in the fall 2021. And you definitely want to attend the Running Start information session that's virtually taking place at Bellevue College. At our website that's going to be placed, I believe Jonathan can place it in the chat Q&A box there. It's going to be the Running Start information session virtually at BC. And the next one is actually this Saturday. So look forward to that. It's, there's lots of options there to attend. And that's where you're going to find out the most information about the process and the procedures, policies, and make sure that you get all the right information. And then if this is, if this is the right thing for you and you decide that Running Start is amazing and you want to definitely go online to our website and complete both the Running Start intent as well as the Bellevue College application. So on our website, on our admissions website, you will see the Running Start intent button, and that will, take you into some questions like a form kind of format. Make sure that information is accurate, like your birth date and your name spelled correctly. A lot of the times an autofill will come on and it'll pop in information that's wrong and you might not notice it. And then, you're waiting for these 4 steps from the Running Start new student at bellevuecollege.edu to come to you so that you can complete your admission steps, like Running Start enrollment verification form, like placement, and so on. Those, procedures won't ever reach you. And so you want to make sure that that information is correct for that Running Start intent form. And then it should bring you right into the Bellevue College application. And this is a website. It's called a Web Admission Center. It's going to prompt you to create a username and password for that common application in Washington State. So if you ever needed to apply to another technical college in Washington, you would use that same platform. You would use that same username and password that you created. And then you can also check on your applications process through that same platform, and it'll let you know. So that's also going to ask you some tricky questions like, have you lived in Washington the past 12 months? And that can be kind of tricky because if you moved, you might get confused. So just make sure that you're taking some deep breaths, you're taking your time with each question and you fully understand. And if you need an adult or a second opinion, please reach out and seek that. So next slide.
So after you've completed all of the steps with Bellevue College, you're going to make an appointment to meet with me, and we'll plan out the college courses throughout at the very least the school year. And then also if you are a 10th grader planning on going to 11th grade, we'll talk about senior year as well. And then we'll sign the registration paperwork so you can take that to Bellevue College to take the next step for registration. It's really important that you turn in your completed enrollment verification form to the Running Start office. I fill it out with you, I sign it, and then you take it from there. And then once you've turned it into them, they'll tell you what to do next to register for classes. So it's really important to plan out the courses you will take each quarter for the entire year so that you have that plan in place, and also so you can make sure that you're meeting graduation requirements. There's a planning sheet in the packet to do that. It's important to remember that a 5-credit college course is equal to 1 year, 1.0 credit of the high school level course. So an example, if I take US history in fall quarter at Bellevue College, then I have met that US history 1 credit requirement and can take different classes and will not continue to take US history unless I want to take additional US history courses after that time. And then again, students have to be enrolled, fully enrolled at all times. So it's not an option to take below the minimum of Bellevue College classes required depending on the amount of classes I'm taking at Big Picture. So as Anastasia said, those virtual info sessions, they are required as a first step to the Running Start application process. They're also just really helpful. This is a lot of information. It's different than what folks have done in the past, and these information sessions are going to give you the information you need to know what to do next and kind of know what it all means. And so you can sign up online at this link. So upcoming info sessions, side note, I will be emailing this PowerPoint and documents to all 10th and 11th graders as well. So upcoming info sessions for Bellevue College, as Anastasia said, this Saturday, and then there are also lots of other options. The goal is to have gone to those info sessions and taken all the steps prior to August. But if stuff happens, and as long as you've indicated on your registration form that you're planning to do Running Start, and it ends up so that you do need to go to those sessions in August, that is an option. So there are other Running Start partner programs. So there's Lake Washington Institute of Technology, Renton Tech, and Seattle Central College. I will say that there are some technical programs that have a very specific program, and because students at Big Picture are always taking that internship class, and also because some of these technical programs won't meet graduation requirements, such as US history, for example, it may not work. So if you're considering Seattle Central College, we can work, but Lake Washington Institute of Technology and Renton Tech, if you are considering doing that, make sure to talk to me first so we can see how well it will work. So lots of advice from Running Start students. It basically comes down to, I really liked it. Make sure to be proactive and organized and plan ahead. I love that I have so many options. Make sure to ask questions. The professors are not scary. And can I just say, I've had a recent experience where I realized I learned how gracious and understanding community college, the Bellevue College teachers and professors can be. They know that you're high school students. There's an expectation that you do college level work and that you act as a college student, and you're still high school students, and they keep that in mind. Okay, so if there are questions that come up, and we'll do some Q&A. We actually have lots of time to do that after this. You'll refer to the digital packet that again is in the chat, and then also will be posted to students in multiple other ways. In that packet, there's checklists, instructions, that planning sheet we talked about. There's also course equivalencies, and so what that means is it tells you what classes you have to take at Bellevue College to meet the graduation requirements at Big Picture. There's a copy of that form students need to sign and families need to sign to register for courses. There's a contract that explains the expectations around Running Start that students and their parents and guardians have to sign, and then graduation progress tracking sheet. My goodness. You can also visit the Bellevue College website. As Anastasia said, there's so much information there that's helpful. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, right when I go to that page, there's like a video I can watch and get helpful information right away. Is that correct?
Correct. So on the right-hand side, actually, when you visit the main Running Start page, as you scroll down, I believe there's a video right there that tells you about Running Start. But as you scroll down, there's more about Running Start that has our information sessions right there. So
thank you. And then you can contact Running Start at this email address, runningstartnewstudent@bellevuecollege.edu. And then we'll do Q&A. Please, before you leave, will you please fill out this exit survey and give us feedback about how things went? You'll also put students will put their name down, parents and guardians can put their name down, and then our Running Start partners can follow up with you. True? Anastasia?
Yes. So in the chat, I'm willing to sit down after the student has applied and completed those. They've gotten their steps for admission. They just need to indicate that they would like a one-on-one appointment with me by Running Start New Student at BellevueCollege.edu, and we can help you through the steps.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to exit out of the PowerPoint so I can see a little bit more of what's going on, and we'll do questions and answers now. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and then Dexter will help us get those out, and we'll answer them.
Yeah, can I just quickly, some of the questions I've been trying to answer. So about DRC, yes, there's a few forms that you'll have to fill out. They're all on their website, but I would suggest just contacting them first, just so you can get an idea of what to expect and everything. They're very helpful. If you need me to, I can post. They have a bunch of different, communication options for you if you have a preference. I guess, yeah, I can just post that right now for you.
And there, Also, if you go to their website, they have a wonderful picture of all of them, and they're willing to meet with you via Teams platform like this, one-on-one as well. So to fill out any of the paperwork needed to register, and their website is very user-friendly.
So yeah, follow-up question. So DRC stands for Disability Resource Center. So whether just in general, in case you haven't been seeing the chat, whether you break your arm for whatever reason, that's called a temporary disability. So they can help you get like a scribe if you need it, stuff like that. If you have anxiety or some other quote unquote disability. Whatever that ends up being, they'll help you through a process of applying for it. So applying for accommodations, it's very private. The only people that really get to know, obviously, are the DRC office and the teachers. So students don't know, who has those accommodations. It's there. It's very respectful. But yeah, yeah. If you think you qualify, then go ahead and try and apply for it, because yeah, whether, like I said, if you have a temporary disability, they can help you with earlier registration, longer testing time, extensions on due dates, whatever you think would help the student. Trying to remember if I'm forgetting anything else about that, but oh, I was going to post your contact info. But yeah, feel free to post any other questions about it if you have it. Another question I usually get about DRC is that, is it on their transcript in any way? No, it's all private. That's only other thing I can think of about DRC. Looks like the next question is, do students usually get lower grades in Running Start classes versus BP classes? I mean, I can answer that, but I'm not sure if you have any personal experience from, students that you've worked with, Melinda?
I would say no, that
Yeah.
There's no reason to think that a student would get a lower grade in a Bellevue College class than a big picture class by virtue of being a Bellevue College class. Students, it is advanced coursework, it is more quickly, and so students are going to be challenged, and you're not going to, if you're a student who's being successful now, then you're likely going to be successful at Bellevue College classes too.
And I'm here at the Running Start page at BC here. There's a parents and guardians as well link on the right hand side. So if you just get a chance to come, there was a question in the, if you'll get a link to join the event for the information session on Saturday, March 13th. You will not get a link. It'll be here at the website, and you can just join, and it'll prompt you to open the Microsoft Teams platform app, Windows app. So you can either download it or you can open it within the web. But there it is.
Okay. I'll just kind of point out the two questions that maybe Melinda can quickly answer. So I don't know if you see them, but there's one question about, I guess there's a deadline for March 12th. They're wondering, how do we submit the checklist before March 12th?
Oh my gosh, yes, that is confusing, isn't it? Your registration for big picture course requests is due March 12th. So as long as on Student View, you're saying which classes you plan to take a big picture and that you plan to take Running Start, then that's fine. That's the only step you have to take by March 12th. Let me also say, you're learning about this like 2 days before March 12th. And so, yes, we are not changing requests after the deadline, and it's March 12th, and I can still change things if I need to. So if you're wanting us to change things June 5th, that's probably not going to happen. But if you contact me in the next 2 or 3 weeks and are wanting to talk about changing your course requests, we can do that.
Okay. And the next quick question was, how many classes do big picture students typically take? I'm not sure if you have any data on that.
Yeah, I would say it really depends.
Yeah.
I think for some, so I think you have to think about yourself as an individual, right? So for some students, they really, really love a class of big picture, or they want to continue in a specific class with their friends. And so they may choose to take one class at Bellevue College and then the other classes at big picture. Um, there's also one benefit of that is if you kind of need to dip your toe in the water first and kind of ease into it, that's a thing that you can do for junior year if you'd like, is take one course at Bellevue College and the rest of your classes a big picture. But you can also go right into taking 13 credits at Bellevue College and then, just the LTI class at big picture. I do want to add, a lot of students are scheduled to take pre-calculus in junior year. That's an important math to take, and it's also a way to meet the state standard for math for the graduation requirement, because there's the math credits you need and then also passing a certain level of math knowledge through the state. So if math is something that is kind of a challenge area for you, you'd probably want to make sure to take pre-calculus at big picture before taking math classes at Bellevue College.
Okay. And so there's two questions that I could probably answer real quick. So one was pretty much, is class going to be in person, online, because of COVID and everything, what's the deal with that? So as of right now, I'm not sure which classes off the top of my head, but for example, so spring is going to be online. So remote learning through the tool that the college uses, even before, COVID, was Canvas. So that's similar to Blackboard if you use something similar to that. As for summer, that's going to be remote only from what we have been told so far. It hasn't been set in stone per se. Fall quarter, so this fall quarter is going to be it's kind of up in the air, really kind of just depends. They may do something where, some classes are going to be in person, most classes will be online, but, we don't know until they tell us. And as soon as they tell us, we'll obviously tell you as soon as we know. But typically, if you go to the Bellevue College website, just that main page, they'll have like a little red banner at the very top that says, the most kind of up-to-date info. I think right now it's just talking about spring, saying that it's going to be online.
And then really quick before you go to the next question,
Mhm.
same with, I think everyone has had this experience long enough to know this reality that with the Bellevue School District, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, but again, that people will communicate. One thing, Dexter, that you talked about was summer quarter. So I want to also make sure people know that Running Start is a program for fall, winter, and spring quarter. If students choose to take Bellevue College courses in the summer, that is separate, and students have to pay tuition for that. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yep, I'll just piggyback on that. That's correct. So students can take, classes in the summer. It's a totally different process. So if you're interested, then, let us know. But that has nothing to do with Running Start at all. But yeah. Well, where was that other question? Oh yeah, when so I guess you can answer this a little bit better than I might be able to. Anastasia, just so when does registration open for those kind of new students?
So yeah, so registration for new students for fall opens May 12th. And I'm showing online here, if you click in the right-hand corner there, online services, you can do the academic calendar. And May 12th is when all new students can start registration. The race will begin here. Oh, excuse me. Let me move over to fall. And you can see right here, there's going to be, it's like an open registration period. So of course, current students will start May 10th, and then May 12th is when all new students can register. So Running Start students, after they finish their 4 admission steps, they'll be ready to register. And that's completing the Running Start enrollment verification form, placement, their Canvas modules, as well as creating like their BC email. So these are all admission steps that need to be completed before they'll be ready to register. And after that, they'll be ready to register. They'll have the tools ready to go and the knowledge, and they'll be able to log in to the platform that they need to log into and register for those classes for fall. So if they get all their steps done by May 12th, potentially they could register starting May 12th. If you have your schedule options, I would always have a plan A and a plan B, definitely. So that if plan A doesn't work out, you have a plan B and you're not stressed out or dealing with that. You have it all aligned, if you will, and ready to go.
And Anastasia said that's when the race begins. And the reason that she said that is because there are only a certain amount of spots in each class, and once students have filled those spots, other students who haven't registered for classes yet will have to choose other classes. And the reality is, and we've all seen this, people who have worked with the Running Start program, is that there are students who wait until later in the process and are not able to A, get the classes they want, so that's step one, or B, sometimes get the classes they need in order to meet graduation requirements. So it's essential that you are meeting deadlines and getting into opportunities like registration and getting those forms in as soon as possible.
Correct. And also, I do want to piggyback on that a little bit. I was talking about June 7th being another deadline, and that's just our phase 1 deadline priority, if you will. So students that finish all their steps and complete that Running Start enrollment verification form, they'll be ready to register. And that's when the summers, the high schools will close for the summer break. So June 7th is a good deadline and a good amount of time, as well as you have over the summer as well, if you need to get your steps done. So I'm more than welcome to sit down with students that need one-on-one, assistance. And I definitely encourage the help if you need it. I'm here, and readily available.
Okay. Let me just find the other questions that there were. So you could probably answer this a little bit better than I could, Melinda. Basically, the question is, how do Running Start classes look on the high school transcript? And obviously, I can elaborate on college transcript because I get that question a lot.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the high school transcript side. So courses will go in with a specific course code that indicates that they're Running Start classes. For someone who is not with the school district, they may not realize that that is what's happening when looking at the transcript. There's a key that tells, that designates certain classes as certain things, and we'll talk about that some other time. I'll show you how to look at that. So it will designate the classes as being college level classes on the transcript. But part of what you're going to do when you're moving on to the next step, be that additional to your college or four-year college, etc., you're going to let the people know when you're applying that these are college level courses. And Dexter will talk about the fact that you'll have a college transcript too. So, and grades go on both. So if I got an A in BC class, then that goes on my transcript at Bellevue School District as an A. And if I got a D, same thing.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to put this all in my head so I can easily. Okay, yeah, so easiest way to explain it all is, when a Running Start student comes to Bellevue College, they are a Bellevue College student. That's how we look at them. That's how the college looks at them. So the classes, the whole reason of this kind of dual credit program, which is what this is that you're getting high school credit and college credit. So the credit's going directly to your high school, as Melinda, talked about, and you're getting high school credit there, and you're getting college college credit on your college transcript. And what does that look like? It looks like, just like any other, student's transcript. There's no denote of, you were doing this through Running Start or anything like that. It's going to look no different from any other college transcript that you look at. So segue to that is when you're applying to another college, they're not going to know you did Running Start. They may see it on your high school transcript, but otherwise they're going to just treat it just like any other college credit. So whether you're going to a private institution, a out-of-state institution, a in-state institution, it's going to really be up to that institution how they accept that credit. Sometimes, for example, if you take English 101 at BC, obviously you'll get your high school credit for that, but a private school or an out-of-state college may count that as just a English elective, as just an elective in general, and maybe they won't even accept it at all because they have different numbering systems, different requirements that they learning outcomes is typically what the phrase is for that kind of specific class. So students are always encouraged to contact whatever college that they're trying to get into, talk to that admission advisor, talk to that program advisor. So, if they were interested in computer science, you would want to talk to that specific program advisor that you're, wanting to get into, and they can help you, let you know, like, oh yeah, these classes will be accepted, these won't, these will be, accepted as this kind of a credit, so on and so forth. And the other thing that's really important about all that is that you want to kind of keep track of all of your syllabuses. So when you do a class at BC or really any college, there's a syllabus, which is kind of like a contract. That is between you and the professor, that this is how the class will work, this is how the grading scale will work, these are the outcomes, so on and so forth. And you can use that typically when you transfer, out of state or in state, if they deny your credit, to just show, hey, this is what your website says their learning outcomes of this class is, and this is what, the class I took. And, we've had a few students get credit that way. But yeah, not to drone on too long. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of how the college credit piece kind of works for Running Start students, and it's the same as any other student.
And so I thank you so much. I just threw up the slide again that has the exit survey link. So if folks are heading out now or as they head out in the next few minutes, please make sure to fill that out and give us feedback.
And I can try and quickly answer most of these other questions are for the Running Start side. Sorry,
we
what?
can't click on the link on the slide that you shared, Melinda.
Yeah,
You can't click it?
Oh, you were gonna share out the PowerPoint slides?
I will share out the PowerPoint
Okay.
slides, yes. And I that may be something that students have to click on through their district computer, potentially.
I'm actually on my kid's district computer, and there's no way to click on the link.
Awesome. I'm going to put it in the chat. And then again, this information will come out again. But yes, I'll put it in the chat right now. Thank you.
So another question is, how hard is it to get into specific classes? And is there a long wait list? And the wait list, potentially exhausts at 5. And so there's never a guarantee that you'll make it into that class. You may be the first one on the wait list, and the wait list may never budge. But you do want to kind of look when payment deadlines are. With the academic calendar with respect to that, because that's when you'll see the most movement per se, because in the wait list or classes, because people will start getting dropped for non-payment. So if you look at the academic calendar and you're on a wait list and you're concerned about, should I gamble? Because you can only be on one wait list at a time. And so you got to pick or choose, history or music, physics, math. You can only be on one at a time. So, but with respect to another question is, evening classes tend to fill up as quickly as daytime, less or the same. I think they're pretty much, it's a first come, first served basis. So looking at our population, our students tend to gravitate towards, daytime classes. And then if it's, going to work for their schedule, then they choose the nighttime classes. But I think for big picture students, you'll have a good variety of subjects that you can choose from. And with the flexibility of classes and types that you can take, you shouldn't have a problem finding something that suits your interest and having it not, of course, that's where the plan A and the plan B comes into play again. So, if one filled up, then you have a plan B to go to. So.
And other than, where was that other question that, oh yeah, do you know, Melinda, what Synergy is? Because I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Or maybe Anastasia knows.
I do. Is the question, what is Synergy?
No, it's how do you indicate if you're doing running start on Synergy?
Yeah. So when you go into the registration form, it's really important that you say, first of all, the classes that you are planning on taking at Big Picture. And then when you choose classes, there should be an option to choose a class called Running Start. That was added a couple days ago. If you're not seeing it, please let me know and I'll follow up. But there should be an option to say specifically Running Start. So let's say I plan to take my LTI class and 2 additional classes at Big Picture, then I'm going to have 4 spots on my registration to fill up. So you'd fill up all 4 with Running Start. That doesn't mean you're taking 4 Running Start classes. It just fills up your registration course request form so that it's not saying you can't submit, this isn't working kind of thing.
Can you hear me? I'd like to ask a question that you haven't answered on my chat. So what time generally does the registration open up time-wise? Because you said it was a race. So
I saw
what's
that.
the earliest on the 12th can you start registration?
Thank you.
Generally,
Yes.
do you know?
Midnight.
Good. So
Open.
12:01,
Yep.
you can do it. Awesome.
Register. You can, depending, you got your steps done and you know how to register. You have all the tools. You're ready to go. Midnight, 12:01, log in, get them classes. Yes.
It's like buying concert tickets, right?
Yeah.
Just kidding, though. There's options after 12:05 a.m. though. That's the difference between those and concert tickets. Yeah.
And there'll be
Melinda,
Yeah.
Melinda, I never saw the packet that you supposedly posted in the chat.
It was the first thing I posted. I can go ahead and post it again.
Would you please?
Yes, and then it will go out to students again
Okay, cool. Thank you.
in like multiple ways. And yes, I'll do that right now.
Okay, cool.
And just piggybacking on that question, so that day that your registration quote unquote unlocks isn't the end all be all. I want to just reiterate that you can pretty much register up until the day before the quarter, starts. So if you have last minute changes, I mean, obviously classes are going to be full, but there's always at least some opening somewhere. It may not, excuse me, may not be your first choice, but yeah, you don't have to stress out that first day.
Yeah. Thank you.